Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle here with you. Psych. It's an old school term we used to say back in my day when we were just kidding. So what was weird is when I set this stuff up to do a broadcast, for whatever reason, Facebook had dual broadcasts on my weather page, which I don't even know how that's even possible, but it did it. And I was like, you can't have two because that's now I got too many, so I had to kill it. Fix that, and then start a new one. So here we go. I got the new one going right now. So thanks for joining me. I'm Meteorologist Tuttle. So it is going on my main Facebook page, my closed group Facebook page, which you can get access to if you become a supporter, and then also on my YouTube page. So for those of you folks that are on YouTube, you guys can chat as well. And with time, I get a little bit better at reading everybody's comments and then actually responding to some. That's the plan. So just so you guys know, it's it's what I do is a lot, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do everything, and it's still a learning curve because this thing's growing out of control very quickly. So it's all right though. Hey, also by the way, if you would Wednesday, before we get into weather here real quick, Wednesday night 8 o'clock, I'll be doing a live bonus content broadcast. Not weather related, it's actually art related, and I had a lot of people ask me, hey, we want to see your artwork, and you're like, what, Aaron's an artist? I'm a jack of all trades. So that's going to happen on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, but not on this main Facebook page. It's going to be on the closed group Facebook page for all my patrons. So if you want to be a supporter, you can sign up. I just posted the link here on your comment section. Should be pinned there. You just tap on that, and then you can become a supporter on Facebook, or here in the description of this broadcast, you can find other methods as well. But just a little bonus content I throw out there, a little extras for you guys supporting me. So it'll be fun. You guys are in for a treat, I think. Wait till you see what I got up my sleeve. All right, well, let's get on with the weather, right? Because I know that's why you're here. So, unfortunately, bad news. Here's a look at the... By the way, let me fix this real quick. Where am I? Dun, 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 dun. Hold on a second. Let me do something. What am I doing? Doing this. Okay. So, changed my little title there. Aaron Tuttle, Meteorologist versus Severe Weather Coverage. Because right now I'm not covering any severe weather, but tomorrow I will be. So here's a look at this Storm Prediction Center's outlook for severe storms. It covers a good chunk of Oklahoma and Texas and Kansas. And the big hot spot here is across this part of the country, and these storms are moving east. Now that's going to get changed. In the early summer, you have to watch every day because it changes. It's not like in the spring where you can have something pretty consistent days in a row. Different animal this time of the year. So it is a limitation of the wind field in the atmosphere. The lighter the winds, in other words, the less active the jet stream, the weaker the wind fields, the harder it is to not only predict long term, but also as far as specific areas of focus. They usually don't show up until about the day before. It's a lot of subtle boundaries, outflow boundaries, little mini troughs, convergence lines, kind of stuff that doesn't really quite come into the eye view until either the night before or the day of. So just kind of give you the backstory on that. But anyway, thread here is for large hail, damaging winds, and probably even, yes, a couple of tornadoes. So here's look at how things should progress for tonight. Now we get those showers and storms out in the Texas Panhandle now. They'll move east and die out overnight in far western Oklahoma. What they will do though is kind of let loose a little bit of an outflow boundary. Think of it like a mini cool front, which will be a convergence line for this area of the state tomorrow. So wherever this final line ends up, which we'll be able to see in the cloud structure, the visible satellite view for tomorrow, that'll be the initiation point for storms. So right now it's looking at west central Oklahoma, so west of I-35, west of the Oklahoma City Metro. So that will be where we watch for some storms to develop. Now, if you watch this with time, as we head into the afternoon for your Tuesday, you do see some storms bubbling up right here along that boundary, then moving into Oklahoma City. And then we got other thunderstorms that will be developing out here, and those move east and southeast overnight for the body of the state. So that's kind of how things should progress for tomorrow. Now here's a bigger picture of that, give you a little bit better view. Plus, it's a slightly different model physics, and it's got an interesting outcome. So the first outcome is storms firing up here in west central Oklahoma, moving into central Oklahoma, but then dissipating right around 6, 7 o'clock I don't necessarily buy that, but it does have more storms out in southwest Oklahoma continuing, and those move southeast. And then it has this other batch up here into Kansas, and those move southeast as well. Now, here's the question. Now, if this actually happens here in southwest Oklahoma, this will actually help to create subsidence or sinking air over central Oklahoma. So that means when this batch of nasty storms comes in late evening, guess what it does? Falls apart. We're protected by a dome here in central Oklahoma. So if that happens, we don't see a whole lot of storms here other than the one or two that may happen late afternoon for your drive time home. So that is an option on the table. It's just as valid of an option as the other, which has storms rolling on through. I'm going to go ahead and lean with just storms rolling on through. It's that time of the year. There's still a lot of usual instability that lingers, so I think that's going to be our outcome. And so heading to Wednesday, by the way, we'll have some storms in southeast Oklahoma, pressing on into Dallas and rest of Texas and Arkansas, all that kind of stuff. So more of Wednesday severe weather risk is going to be down across that area. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is what the risk is. Now here's a look at the forecast sounding for western Oklahoma, and it does have some decent shear, and which a nice hodograph, and therefore produces a weak tornado as far as potential is concerned. It's one of those things we'll watch for, kind of like we had on Saturday. It's a low risk, but it's not a zero risk. The other issue to speak about is the hail. And if we look at some of the some of the analogs, in other words, similar type setups, similar type events, we go through the database and we say, okay, what kind of hail reports did we get back then? Well, these red are the ones you don't want to see. Severe hail sizes in the past, from Amarillo to Dodge City to Springfield, a lot of these other little weather service offices where a similar situation occurred, anywhere from 2 3/4 to 4 inches on the hail size. So like I'm saying, we could see some giant hail tomorrow, just with some of the stronger storms. It won't be a widespread deal, but just whoever sees one of these supercell type storms, that's going to be what your potential future is going to be. The other issue is the damaging winds, and I'm going to show it to you on this map here. This is just kind of taking into account those storms in southwest Oklahoma. This is just to give you a general ballpark idea. It's not going to know the exact placement. Again, the placement's going to be wherever these actual storms happen to trail over a given area, but the potential here is anywhere from 60 to about 70 miles per hour in any of these little cells. That's where the dark brown is up to the kind of the lighter shade of brown, and so that continues even on into northern and northwestern Texas too, and even Dallas-Fort Worth's got some stuff down there as we head into the overnight hours on Tuesday night. Now here in central Oklahoma, that secondary wave, because of the model thinks it'll weaken quite a bit, it doesn't produce nearly as much wind with it as those first storms down here in southwest Oklahoma. But again, I caution you in this outcome because I don't necessarily buy it. I'm just going to go with isolated thunderstorms here in central Oklahoma, and then the big line comes in from the north and west. All of these will have lightning, heavy rain, so some brief flash flooding, large hail, anywhere from golf balls to, could get some baseballs out of it, and then the potential for at least a couple of tornadoes across the state. Could it be here one in central Oklahoma? Sure. Could it be one in northwest and western Oklahoma? Yeah, those are kind of the general area where that potentially resides. Okay, there was one thing I wanted to show you. What was it? Give my brain a second here to figure out what it was I was going to tell you. I'll get there eventually. What's I going to tell you? I don't know, but I can show you the forecast sounding here from this model as these storms roll on through in central Oklahoma, and they're a little bit more favorable for a tornadic type probability. So in other words, the shear looks pretty decent. Turns with direction from the very surface on up to about a few thousand feet, a quick turn from the southeast to the west at about 20 knots, 25 knots, 30 knots once you're a little higher. In the summertime, that's adequate for a tornado. Not so much, in the springtime, you something a little bit better, but we have other parameters that come in to help offset a little slightly weaker wind speed on the shear. It's got a nice photograph as well, so that's what I'm saying for central Oklahoma, west, northwest. The potential's there for tornadoes, so that's what we'll be watching for, and of course I'll be covering that, assuming that happens. Let's see, maybe it was the Helicity tracks I wanted to show you. Maybe that's what it was. Was that what it was? So it was, but not on this model. I believe it was. Oh! I know what it was. It was this one. Okay. So I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, so this is the high-res model that we usually use for the short-term aspect of things. So it's got closer to an outcome I think that's going to happen, but I'm going to massage it and put these storms that develop from central Oklahoma back out here and then move into central Oklahoma during our late afternoon, so after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, coming in toward the metro, so your drive time home from work. So these, as you can see, are isolated in nature, so they're supercell type storms. They would have the large hail damaging winds, potential tornado. All right, so those will move off, however many that do happen to bubble up and develop. And then we'll look into northwest Oklahoma. This is around 9 and 10 o'clock hour. It hasn't quite congealed into a line. It's still kind of broken in this fashion. I think we might see more of a line. I think they might still isolate it up through about 8 o'clock, anything that happens up there. But I think from that point onward toward 9, I think they'll congeal pretty quickly into more of a squall line or an MCS event. And that will move here in the southeast into Oklahoma City by midnight, give or take, half hour or so. And those will roll on through, and there are going to be some, pretty rough thunderstorms. The only saving grace is if that little freak occurrence of some storms in southwest Oklahoma can't help to stabilize things, and I don't necessarily buy in that. So I'm buying more of the isolated stuff. So I would look for this squall line to come on through. And typically on squall lines, the biggest threat later in its life cycle is more of a damaging wind in pockets, some small hail in pockets. In the early stages, it's stronger winds and bigger hail. It's just a maturity and then an evolutionary process of how things kind of change. But we'll probably get some hail out of this here coming to the metro. It could be up to golf ball size. I'm just thinking hopefully won't be anything bigger than that, because it'll be at midnight, so we'll see a lot of the energy from the atmosphere kind of wane a little bit. So that should kind of help things. So I believe that was it. So this is a rather quick one. So, I only talked to you for about, 8 minutes of weather? 7 minutes, something like that. That's unusual for me. So, let me see here real quick. By the way, you guys on YouTube, so thanks for watching. I didn't end the YouTube broadcast part of it, even though there was no broadcast on my end. Because if I end it through the YouTube version, then I have to restart it all, and it's a pain to get it all going again. So I just kind of left it running. So it's probably black there for a while until I came back on. So don't worry about that. And then for you guys on Facebook, let's go to my patrons. See if you guys had any quick questions for me. Man, a lot of comments though. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. And always, if you'd like to ask me a question, I just ask that you hold off until I'm done looking at the maps, because I won't be able to see what it is you're saying while I'm giving you the lowdown. So my patrons have decided to come up with a bingo card for me, and I saw the first version of it, and it's pretty hysterical. So they're going to come up with a refined version that sure is going to get passed around, which is pretty comical, and a lot of terms I like to use a lot. Which, in the weather market here in Oklahoma City, that just happens. So you hear a lot of stuff a lot, and I happen to apparently say the same words over and over. So yeah, there's one thing. There's two things I do that irritate me, just so you guys know. But I'm not gonna tell you, because if I tell you, then you'll watch for it, and then you'll notice it every time I do it. So it's best you just don't know, but I know. If that makes any sense at all. All right, I'm going back to the main page here. Let's see if you guys have any quick questions. When will it all end? Penny wants to know. Never. We have more storms coming up for, I believe, next weekend. And actually, I'll tell you when it's going to end, July. Probably right July 1st, it's done. It better be done, because I'm done. I'm checking out. I don't know about you, but I'm out of here. For real. I can't take anymore. I'm so tired. You guys have no idea how tired I am. Imagine working 2 jobs full-time nonstop forever and ever and ever, and that's all you do. And then you sleep if you can, eat when you can. It's lame. So I know a lot of you do that for a living. Man, I feel for you. But I mean, when that's all you do, I mean, think about that. Think about 2 jobs, no time for family at all. You're just working. It's not a way to live. Trust me. So. The weather, unfortunately, dictates sometimes my busy periods, and it gave me a run for my money here this time around. And so I'm about to take it out back and have my way with it. About to teach it a lesson. So anyway, all right. I'm hoping we had a talk today at work if we'll see 100 degrees this year. And I said yes once. We'll have one day of 100, and it won't be until August. So we'll see. We just have silly, discussions like that because that's what weather guys do. We talk about the weather. But just so you know, we have not hit 90 officially in Oklahoma City yet. And that's a rarity. Not a record, but rare. So we'll eventually hit it here probably this week or next week. But we got through almost all of June before that happened. That's pretty good. What else can I tell you? Oh, I can tell you that we spent roughly 21 months above normal temperature-wise in Oklahoma City, followed by 22 months of below normal temperatures in Oklahoma City. And the below normal was greater than the above normal. So, just another little tidbit. So, it has been cool around here, which I don't complain about. And it's also been wet. We are the second wettest so far across most of the state. So we don't have to worry about a drought. So we're actually sitting pretty as far as overall weather goes for once. So that's good. So Nate is asking a very specific question. I have no idea where Nate lives, but his question is, are we going to have any tornadoes, large hail damaging winds at 1 a.m. on Wednesday? So my answer is yes, to at least 2 of those 3. The answer, of course, is wherever that line of storms is, which should be moving through one of my bingo terms, the I-44 corridor. Now, when I say I-35 or I-44 corridor, look at a map where you see the interstates, aka the turnpike, for 44, or you see 35. That's your boundary. That's your corridor, right? Now, the highway would be a one-point line, but instead we say corridor, meaning a plus or minus on either side of it. So you can go 30 miles either side, so that's a pretty good corridor of distance along 35. You can go 30 miles on 44, so that'd be a 30 mile either way. It's about 60 miles total. That'd be your corridor for I-44. So when I say storms initiating around the I-35 corridor, I-44 corridor, that's what that means. So if anybody else says that, that's what they mean. So just so you know. I suggest you also learn your geography, by the way. At least know what your county looks like on a map and where you are in that county, like the general location. Know what town you're next to, or city, and what major highway or you're next to. So those 3 things, if you can do those 3 things, you probably won't ever get caught off guard. Final thing I would suggest, you use my weather app. That way you're never caught off guard, because it'll let you know when storms are approaching. It'll give you 25 miles heads up. If lightning's in the area, it'll give you about a 15-mile heads up, so you guys get the kids out of the pool. Coaches love it. Athletic directors love it because it gets the kids off the field. They can clear the stands if they need to. So it's called AT's Weather to Go. Apple, Google Play, it's free. And since so many of you are coming out and supporting me, I'm going to be able to turn the ads off, those Google ads, the big, full page ones. So that's how I use it to pay for all this stuff, believe it or not. I know they're annoying, but I got to pay for the stuff somehow. So that's how it's been doing it. But since you guys are coming out and supporting me in these other manners and methods, and I can turn those off. So I'm not greedy. I just want to pay for everything. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll just take that revenue stream out and replace it with what you guys are doing for me. And we'll go with that. So as long as you guys support me in that fashion, I don't have to turn those ads back on ever again. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But I like that option better myself. Because sometimes those ads don't play nice. They won't close. I got no control over those. Google. Don't get me started. So, let's just say I've got no control, even though all I can do is block them. But those are designed by people who scam the system, and that's why they don't close. And Google doesn't care, because all they care about is money. So, just letting you know, that's the inside scoop. And then earlier I talked about different platforms. So I need you guys to be patient with social media in general. Because if you turn on the news, whatever channels you watch, you turn on, you listen to your Twitter feeds and the people in there complaining. So the bottom line is there's a lot of censorship going on for various reasons. I don't want to get into it because I don't care. But you're going to need to be patient as far as how a new platform will take over in place of those. In other words, if they push it too far with censorship over certain groups of people, alienates. Let's just say they alienate half their users, which to me is dumb. As a business model, that's suicide. So I'm not sure why they're even going that direction. Let's just say they do that. Well, then you got half an audience that's looking for a place to go. So we have new alternatives popping up now almost daily. So eventually the dust will settle. We're going to have some new alternatives. If you don't like Facebook anymore, you don't like Twitter or whatever, there's going to be other alternatives and platforms coming up. And I'll jump on those, whichever ones take shape. I'm actually kind of trying to jump on them early just so I can get my stake in it. And if it takes off, I'm there. If it doesn't, I'll close it. It doesn't mean anything to me. But that way, you guys have other places to go if you just get irritated too much with big tech. Sometimes I get irritated, and I'm the content creator. I'm the one that has to work with them on the back end, which can be very irritating. So you guys just get the front end stuff, just of the content. Let me see, anything else I got to say to you? That was it. So I do plan on coming home to the office here to cover the storms, but it won't be until after 6 because I do work until 6 tomorrow. So if there's a tornado that happens early, I'm afraid you're going to have to watch the TV, guys. I know, it's terrible, right? Or you can just use my weather app and not even watch them at all. That is an option. So you don't have to watch them. Also, get a NOAA weather radio. So it's in the link of this broadcast. You go to the description, you just tap. If you're on your phone, you can tap it, and like a description window will come up with everything I've typed in there. And when it's over, you can go click on it, whatever. But in that description header of info is my link to my Amazon store, and I tell you which NOAA weather radio you want to get. It's the best one. These guys. This model is the cream of the crop. So don't get another one. Even ones that are more expensive, don't do it. This one's $30, and it's the best one. So I've had a ton of you already get that one, so just grab it. So anyway, use my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. Between those two, you really shouldn't need the TV, guys, unless you just want to. So that way you can calm your anxiety down. And then I'll broadcast live when I can, which, like I said, I'll probably a little after 6 o'clock. And that's assuming, of course, we have some tornadoes, or it looks like there may be one. If there's something like a widespread damaging wind or widespread crazy giant hail event, I might cover those. Otherwise, I typically don't cover the garden variety typical Oklahoma thunderstorms, because if I do, you're going to see me sitting around doing this. Because you have to understand, when the TV guys cut on and they go wall to wall, they can't stop. Now, you're going, well, sure they can. I'm like, no, they can't. Because if one guy stops, they lose to the other two. And no one wants to be the first to quit. So they go and go and go, and they tap dance, and trust me, I used to have to do it. It was horrible. We just look at each other just going, can we get off the air, please? But the bosses are like, cracking that whip. Nope, you better stay on the air. Treat us like thoroughbred racehorses. So you're not quitting until you break a leg. So, so that was a frustrating side of that business. One of the many, but that was one of them. So when, you get that, at that point in time, there's a lot of stretching and embellishing of just, come on, guys, just quit it. Just go off the air. So you guys should be able to tell when that happens, because A, we won't be talking about tornadoes anymore. B, unless there's literally hail reports coming in of some crazy number, and we're just talking about good old variety thunderstorms. And at that point, you can just turn it off if you want, or switch the channel, or if I'm on. That's the other thing. If I'm on, it's for a reason. In other words, I'm not going to be on just to be on. So usually, if I'm on, it's not good. Let's put it that way. If they're on, it can be good or bad. It won't even matter. And they're just on because that's what they got to do. You stick with me long enough, and I will tell you so much of the insides of that whole industry. I worked in it for 12 years and retired to keep my sanity. And my boss, my news director at the time, she's like, I just pushed him too hard. I knew I did. I just pushed him too hard. And I'm like, yeah, you treated me like a dog. I'm like, I had enough of your garbage. And I said, see ya. So yeah, I mean, you can't do that to people, man. If you're a boss and you treat your employee like that, like they're A, expendable, and B, you're just going to work them until they pass out, no, man, you need to fire yourself because you're an idiot. So don't do that to your employees, especially your good ones, because you know what they're going to do? They're going to leave you, and you're going to lose your best asset. You know what they're going to do? They're going to show up on their own platform and then take your viewers and show you how it's done. So, don't be that boss, because look what happened. Actually, I got to thank my boss for that, because now I'm doing this, and I actually like working for myself way better. So anyway, like I said, man, you get me on a diatribe, I can tell you guys all kinds of stuff. I should write a book. But when am I going to have time? I already worked 2 jobs. All right, I got to get out of here. Look, it's 15 minutes after 10. So I'll cover storms tomorrow if we have them. Oh, well, if we have them. When we have them, if they're going to be, substantial. And then Wednesday night, we've got the art display, AT's artwork collection from the age of maybe 8, 9. I'm going back pretty far. So probably at the earliest that. And then up through maybe 18, kind of in that range. So we'll see what I got left, that survived the moves and split homes and everything else that happens, as you grow up. So I got a box of stuff, so we'll get that out. I got stuff on the wall. So I think you're really going to like it. So if you want to see it, it's a live broadcast I'm going to do for bonus content for my supporters. So if you want to be a supporter, links on this broadcast, just click the little pin on it. Or go to the information. You can sign up to be on patreon.com/Aaron Tuttle. There's also Subscribestar if you don't like Patreon or you don't want Facebook, or if you want PayPal. PayPal's on there too. I got plenty of options for you that way. If you guys have a problem with a certain platform, you don't want to support it, well, there's others out there you can pick from. So that was it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time tonight. And as always, like, share, and comment, all that kind of stuff, so that way Facebook rewards you and lets you know that I'm live and shows you my stuff when I go on. All right. You guys have a great night. Sleep well.